Hey everybody, Jim here with another video for you. This is Shocktober 2025, episode 16. But before I begin, at the end of this video, if you like what you see, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, please leave comments below. Let me know how you feel about this series. Let me know how you feel about the films that I'm about ready to talk about. Now today on the 16th, I was kind of torn on what I was going to do. Yesterday's video, I highlighted a bunch of new movies that came out this year. And at the beginning of that video, I was talking about how most people complain about how Hollywood today, it's nothing original. It's how they regurgitate old properties or just keep on making the same IP over and over again. And I agree with that. By and large, I don't like remakes. However, in horror, for some reason, when remakes are done, the results are usually either horribly, horribly bad or just absolutely amazing. So we're going to talk about some horror remakes. Now, I'm going to bring up a couple first, but these are not the recommendations, okay? I'm using this as the standard because there was a glory time in the late 70s to the 80s for remaking classic horror or science fiction horror movies. And we're talking like the top of the crop here with Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Fly, The Blob, and my favorite horror movie of all time, The Thing. These four films are examples of when you do something right, as far as a horror remake goes, it's perfect. And all four of these movies are outstanding, in my opinion. So, using that bar, we're going to talk about some other remakes that have come out in the last 20 to 25 years. Because, quite frankly, like I said, there's been a lot and a lot of remakes. But to me, I enjoy all five of these. And in a couple of instances, well, we'll get to it when we get to it. But let's go. We're going to start off with Evil Dead, directed by Fede Alvarez and starring Jane Levy, among others. I was shocked how much I liked this movie. It's gory, it's bloody, it's gnarly. There is not a single moment of humor in this movie, really. It's dark, just like the original Evil Dead. The first time I saw it, I wasn't really sure how I felt about it, especially the ending. But then when I got this Blu-ray, I watched the unrated version. And not only is it much gorier, but the movie hit with me at that point. And I stopped comparing it to the original and just went with the ride for what it is. And again, this movie's amazing. It really is. I really enjoy Evil Dead Rise as well. But the first one that we're recommending today is Evil Dead. Next, now this one is very, very divisive. And I'm going to catch a lot of shit for this. But I really don't care. From 2018, Suspiria. Starring Dakota Johnson, Tilda Swinton in like 4 different roles, Mia Goth, and Chloe Grace Moretz, among others. This one is directed by Luca Guadagnino, and of course it is a remake of the Dario Argento classic from the 70s. Here's where I'm going to catch some shit. I do not own the original. I own this one, obviously, and I prefer this movie to the original. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's better. This movie's way too long. They could cut 45 minutes out of this easily, okay? But for whatever reason, I'm more entertained when I watch this than I do the Argento film. I'm not a huge Giallo fan, okay? And that might have something to do with it. Again, I'm not saying Suspiria is a bad movie. Not at all, okay? It's one of those films that I highly respect. I just don't necessarily love. I'm more of a Deep Red fan, to be honest. But I really do enjoy this one. And Tilda Swinton is awesome. And there's one scene in particular in this movie that is absolute nightmare fuel. Again, this movie's way too long, but I really, really enjoy Suspiria. Next, from 2009, Friday the 13th. Now, again, I'm not saying that this is better than the original, because it's not. And this isn't really a remake either. It's basically they take the first 3 or 4 Friday the 13th movies and they jam it in at the beginning, and then it kind of goes its own way. But I don't care. This movie's awesome. Now, this one came out right around the same time as the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street and The Omen and some of these other movies, and those movies suck. This one's entertaining as hell, and it's brutal. And there is a variation on the sleeping bag scene that went from it being comical to being absolutely horrific. Yeah, I really dig this movie a lot. A lot of people bitch because of the tunnels and this and that, and Jason's running around as opposed to just walking like a normal killer. If anything, that makes it a little more plausible to me. And again, I'm not saying this is top tier Friday the 13th, okay? It's in the top half. But as far as those remakes go, especially from this time period, this is one of the better ones for sure. Just like this one. This one is from 2006. Alexander Andre's version of Wes Craven's The Hills Have Eyes. Now, here we go again, just like the Suspiria. I prefer this one to the original. I'm not saying it's, but no, actually I am saying, in this case, this is a better film. Because The Hills Have Eyes, again, it's one of those films, and I own it. It's one of those films that I have more respect for than enjoyment. This one, on the other hand, is gnarly as hell, and it's a tough watch, but man, it's rough. It's tough. It's a great horror flick. This movie's awesome. The other one, it's just creepy, and it's cheap. But again, I would much rather watch this one than the Wes Craven classic, even though I do own that Wes Craven classic. But we're going to end on this one. To me, this is the gold standard for modern horror remakes. This is the way it should be done. And I'm pretty sure everybody knows the movie I'm talking about. Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead. Screenplay by James Gunn, directed by Zack Snyder, as I said, and it's still his best movie. Based on the greatest horror film of all time by George Romero. And this one stars Sarah Polley, Ving Rhames, Mekhi Phifer. Really, really fun movie in this. Now, when this movie came out, I was working at that cinema as a manager. And I've gone on record many times that the original Dawn of the Dead, to me, is the greatest horror film of all time. So when I found out that they were going to do a remake of it, I was beyond pissed off. And we got a teaser for it, little 30-second teaser, and it looked okay, but still, I was beyond pissed off. But we got the film, and the night before it came out, I put it together, and I invited some friends over to come and check it out, and we had a private screening the night before, and this movie blew me away. Like I said, it is still Zack Snyder's best film, in my opinion, and it's one of those few remakes that takes the genesis of the idea and expands it and goes in different directions. And that's why this movie is so effective. The performances are great. The dialogue is great. The effects are great. The direction is great. This movie is awesome in every way. It's not as good as the original, okay? But it's damn close. It is just a phenomenal, phenomenal remake. As far as fast-moving zombie films go, this one and Train to Busan are definitely the top of the crop, in my opinion. And that's how we're going to end today's episode of Shocktober 2025. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, leave those comments below. I want to remind everybody that if you're interested in that giveaway, go on episode 14 and drop a comment that you want to be entered, or go on my community post and drop a comment, because I've noticed some people have reached out to me on Instagram and other mediums saying that they are having problems leaving comments on those 2 videos. If you cannot, for whatever reason, leave a comment on those 2 videos, leave a comment on this one and let me know, okay? And I want to make sure that everybody who tries to get into the giveaway gets a chance. Once again, everybody, I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you so much for all of your continued support. We'll catch you on the next one.